guys, welcome back to the show Conversations with Ayeni Princess, the podcast where we dive into the incredible stories and journey of the people that make our world today. On today's episode, I am thrilled to have a multi-talented creative join me on the show. He is a filmmaker, a visual designer, a lighting tutor, and a branding expert. He has mastered the art of storytelling through lighting and visuals. And whether it's behind the camera or is teaching people how to light their project or idea, he brings so much passion, vision and expertise into any project he's working on. I know this firsthand because I've worked with him and the experience was amazing. Join me to welcome Ibidapo Adeyinka, also known as Director Blonde, to the show. Welcome to the show, Director Blonde.
Wow. Thank you.
It's such an honor to have you on the
Thank you.
show.
Thank you. Actually, the introduction was longer. I mean, you said a lot of things about is a Monty, I'm like,
Yeah, you're a man of so many talents, so I need to let them know.
Interesting. Thank you for having me on the show, and I mean, I'm glad to be here. Basically, yes.
Interesting.
And get ready for my questions.
No, I'll be the one asking the question today.
Okay. Let's
Okay.
Go. Are you ready?
Yeah. Are you ready?
Of course I am.
I'm the one that's supposed to ask if you're ready.
I'm ready. I'm relaxed. I'm super ready, and I'm ready to go.
All right. So on the episode today, we'll be looking at the power of branding through the eyes of a consumer. And that consumer here is you.
Oh, beautiful. Okay.
So I'm going to be asking you questions around branding. So let's get the show started.
Let's go. Cheers.
All right.
Thank you.
So Director Blonde.
Yeah.
What does branding mean to you?
Director Blonde, that name came as a mistake. So let me give you a backstory to that name.
Okay.
I don't know if you have it as part of your questions, but once upon a time I was on your hairstyle. Actually, yes. And so that led to them calling me Director Blonde. And it's just one person that started it. And I think you know the person.
I do.
Yeah,
but
so
I like
go
the
on.
name. So I think
Really?
I'm just going to stick with Director Blonde instead of your name, Inka.
Oh, beautiful. Let's shoot.
Okay, so as I was saying, what does branding mean to you, one? And how does branding influence how you make decisions when it comes to patronizing a brand or purchasing a product?
Okay. Branding to me, right, is what you as a consumer, right, what you perceive any product to be, basically. So, I mean, I've heard this kind of quote where we say, branding is what people say about something or someone when that person is not in the room. That's actually branding. For example, we can talk about Coca-Cola, but Coca-Cola is not here. It's not anywhere around us. The CEO doesn't know us. Even the country manager of Nigeria doesn't know us. So branding is what you perceive or what you think, right, about a particular person, product. Yeah. And what's the second question again?
How does branding influence your decision making when it comes to patronizing a product?
Okay.
Patronizing a brand or purchasing a product?
Oh, okay. Well, on a very personal note, right, if I'm trying to purchase something, right, no, I'm not so much of looking at the product name first, right? I'm particular about the quality, right? But before we get to that quality point, we would need to see what the product actually looks like first.
Sure.
So if I'm purchasing a product, where based on my person, right, I like premium stuff, right? And sometimes I cannot afford premium stuff, so I go for what is less than premium in that situation. But if I'm actually purchasing something, right, the appearance of that product, the way it is being presented, right, matters to me a lot, right? It determines how I would value that thing and if I should actually purchase that thing. Now, I'm not so much of a person who I would want to wear a particular brand because I want to be perceived. I mean, Africans we like that, we like doing that thing. We like wearing designers just because we want to show that I'm wealthy or I can afford this kind of thing. I don't actually look at that. I look more on its presentation, right? For example, if I'm buying, I'm not a watch person, but in a case where I'm actually buying a watch, right? I would prefer to go for something much more sophisticated, right? On the first look, it looks really good, right? It's not too shiny. It looks, somewhat way, um, I would say sophisticated. So decision making to me actually purchasing a product has to do with, first of all, the appearance and the presentation, then down to the quality of that particular thing. Then most of the times consumers actually can predict, they tend to make their decisions even from 6 feet away from your product, especially when it is, side by side with other competitors. For example, you want to buy a tea, like a Lipton, sorry, I already mentioned the brand, a tea bag, right? And you don't have any idea of what you want to buy at first. But when you are in the section where they are selling tea bags, right? And then you see a box which is, I mean, in yellow, you see another box which is in gold, you see another box which is in black. Some of the the decisions you make would even be it will be before you actually get to that point. Unconsciously, like it's in your subconscious, you don't even know. You're walking towards the section where there are a lot of tea bag products, but before you get there, you're already making a decision, such that once you just get there, you're already on one spot. Except maybe you have time to, like, shop around and actually make your decision. But most of the time, which is why I actually try to advise people who do product design on the outside. Picture your customer standing 6 feet away from your product and see if they would actually be attracted to that particular product. All right, so let's go to the next question.
All right. Thank you for that answer. Can you recall a brand that has left a lasting impression on you, and what made that so impactful?
I A brand that has left a lasting impression on me
Yeah.
would be Unilever. Yes.
Why?
I think because of their diverse portfolio, right? Unilever, I think they have, I'm not sure of the number, but I think they have more than 50 brands, right? And fortunately for us, Nigeria, we consume more than 50. Yes. Yeah, from what we know around, our Sunlight soap, our
Blue Band.
No Maggi, even down to some deodorants, Vaseline, Vaseline petroleum jelly, right? It's made by Unilever. So I think Unilever stuck with me because I did like some studies about Unilever, about the history of Unilever, and I saw that they've been in Nigeria for a very long time. Yeah, pretty much more than 50 years. Yes. So the impression Unilever had on me was how diversified they could just be. Like when they are in a particular industry, even though they are in the beauty, cosmetics, and consumables industry, but once they are in just one particular, let me say sub industry, right? In the seasoning industry, for example, there are other seasoning brands, but somewhat way their logo design is cool. Their color management is perfect. It makes it, you can't almost even tell that this is coming from a parent brand. It's coming from the same parent brand, as you would put it. A lot of people don't know that Omo and Sunlight is from the same company, the same Unilever.
I didn't even know that.
Exactly. But the way both of them have been presented, it looks like this one is actually on its
On its
own,
own.
and this one is on its own. So because of their diverse, portfolio and being able to, do proper representation on their individual brands, I think it really stunned with me, and I mean, I'd love to work with them someday. Anyway.
Nice. Thank you for shooting your shot. Okay, my
Okay.
next question.
All right.
How do you differentiate between a strong and a weak brand?
How do I differentiate between a strong and a weak brand? Well, that's actually very deep, right? On the surface level, I would say presentation. Yeah. Um, I'm a fan of shoes. Not like I'm a fan of shoes. I love shoes and I love to shop for shoes. Yeah. And
That makes you a fan.
yeah. So if I'm buying a shoe for a particular purpose, I take my time actually, like strictly, I take my time. So the way the thing just appears, right? And I don't even focus on the logo. Oh, let's say I'm buying a shoe. I'm trying to buy
Do you focus
Lacoste.
on price?
Sometimes I focus on the price. Of course, I mean, everybody has a purchasing power. Yeah, but they say rich people don't check the price. I'm not yet rich. But to an extent, when I'm actually buying a shoe, I look at the presentation, like the outer look first. And there's a way, I mean, we just know that this one looks different from this one just by the presentation, right? So, but on a broader perspective, right, how do I differentiate between a weak brand and a strong brand? Broader perspective, now I'm putting in position of a company, right? Let me bring up two competitors. Let me put StarTimes and MultiChoice. I'm not saying StarTimes is weak, but of course MultiChoice is stronger. MultiChoice has a stronger presence in its locality in Nigeria here, right? Once upon a time, StarTimes came up and their prices were really low, right? So with as low as 900 naira, you could subscribe, right, to watching StarTimes and have access to different channels. And I think that time GSTV had packages, family, compact, and all of those packages. I think the lowest was like 2005, thereabouts. I can't remember, but it was also pretty low. I think the family package was around that price. But now, what do strong brands do? Sometimes they buy you over, right? Or sometimes they create a new competition for you. So they still maintain their place, they still maintain their status in the industry, but they create a new brand and use it to compete against you. So what did MultiChoice do? I'm not sure this is the exact story, but from my own perspective,
Okay.
they created GoTV, right, to compete against StarTimes. Now GoTV rather, now has like very reduced prices, low prices,
Compared to
the same
yesterday.
GSTV experience that you still have, but of course you don't have access to some channels. But it competed with StarTimes, and I think it almost kicked them out to an extent. Most people don't really do use StarTimes.
Please don't ask me that on the show.
So differentiating from a strong brand and a weak brand, in the company um, perspective is how you can actually dominate in your industry. Basically, you're dominating, and you're becoming, I mean, pretty much first choice for your customers, and as well as maintaining your relevance basically in the industry. Yeah.
Okay, great.
Let's take a break.
Thank you. So, Director Blonde,
Yep.
how does packaging, design, and messaging affect your perception of a product or service?
Okay. Packaging, design, and messaging,
How does it
right?
affect your perception of a product or service?
The first thing it does is it streamlines your target audience. Yep. If we pick a product, for example, we pick umbrellas, right? The regular umbrellas. Umbrellas, everybody knows the purpose of umbrella: to protect you from sun or to protect you from rain, right? Sometimes it can be used in art, right, for photo shoots or video shoots. So if we bring out an umbrella brand and then we want to, let's say, put that umbrella brand in a position where it services only pregnant mothers, right? Only pregnant mothers. All of what you would communicate on your adverts, on your social media, it will be towards pregnancy and towards childbirth, even though it doesn't play any role for childbirth. But the messaging, whatever you bring out, right, would streamline to the exact people you want to sell to. So your packaging, design, and messaging, right, helps you to streamline to your exact target audience. And now you can be very broad, right? You can be very broad or you can go niche down, right? That answers.
Remember,
Yeah.
no, not totally. I'm
Okay.
trying to rephrase the question.
Okay.
So, let's point the question to you. How
Oh,
does it
okay.
affect your own perception,
Oh, okay.
you know, when it comes to product or service?
Okay. I would say to an extent, if it flows with my personality, right, with my ideologies and my own kinds of like personal choices, right, and it resonates with who I am presently, right, it would, you know, it would give me the power of choice, either to choose it or not to choose it. Give or take now. Let's. I just like using product examples. I'm sorry,
It's
right?
fine.
Let's use toothpaste for example, right? I want to buy toothpaste, right? On the health side, I like to use about toothpaste. Actually, let me give you an hint on toothpaste, right? When you look at a tube and you look at the end of the tube, there's usually a color. I think there are like four colors, different types of colors. There's black, there's red, there's blue, and there's green. Yes, and they all have
Really, are
meanings.
we describing the same toothpaste that I know?
Of course, different brands, but that color at the end of the tube actually means something. Green is herbal. Red, I think, is purely chemical. I think blue is a mixture of the red and the green, and I think black is something else. I don't
I
know
don't
the
think I've noticed this thing like in a
yeah.
toothpaste or on a
So, but
toothpaste.
yes, you could check it up later. Yes. So now, if I'm buying a toothpaste, right, and I picture my bedroom, and I want to put my toothpaste on the glass wall in my bedroom. Personally, I would like to go with something that looks black. I don't know why.
So my next question would be, what role do you think social media plays in shaping consumer perceptions of brands?
What role
Role
does
do you think
social
social media
media
plays?
plays in
Yes,
shaping
the consumer perceptions of brands.
the consumer perception of brands? Social media. Well, I think social media is just a channel for advertising, right? When it comes to marketing, there's like different channels of marketing. There's ATL, there's TTL. ATL is
What's that?
ATL is above the line, right? TTL is through the line. There's BTL, which is below the line, basically. So
Okay.
ATL above the line is when you advertise on a broader spectrum without actually, targeting a particular set of people. So ATL is where everybody sees your adverts, right?
Okay.
So such as like billboards, even on social media they do ATL. ATL is like you are not targeting any particular, set of interested concerns. You are targeting every single person. For example, you want to sell cups, right? If you're doing TTL, you want to sell this kind of cups to cafes, right? To coffee shops that would need this exactly. So you would be looking at, people with interest in workouts, people with interest in food, all of those kind of, pinpointed interest, right? So, but if you're doing ATL, you target every single person, so everybody gets to see the ad. So, social media playing a role. I think it's just a channel for marketing, basically, and it can also, serve the purpose of reminding people, reminding your customers about your business every single time you make a post. So, it has a very, very significant way of preaching relevance in your products, basically. As big as Coca-Cola, right? As big as Coca-Cola, I think they are probably in over 120 countries already. We have about 197 countries in the world, and Coca-Cola really, they play the relevance role is so strong. Almost every month, if you don't see a Coke bottle, you will see a Coca-Cola advert either on the billboard or somewhere. You would definitely just see it.
Okay.
So even aside social media, they they've like discovered and they've like just act that brand relevance showing up in your face whether you care or you don't care. So social media can actually do that purpose too by showing up in people's faces, every single time. It's like you're just reminding your customers about your business, basically.
All right. If you could build your dream brand,
Yeah.
what would it look like and what would it stand for?
If I could build my dream brand, what will it look like?
And what would it stand for?
Well, if I could build my dream brand, um, what would it look like? Permit me, right? I would like to build a brand that looks like I mean, that has the perception of Rolls Royce. Yeah, maybe in the food sector. Yeah, maybe, I mean, I don't know how it's going to look like, but, giving you an experience of an amazing interior when you come to my restaurant and it's like you're in a different world. But, I mean, the Rolls Royce experience is, the excellent experience. Super excellent. You can't rush our meals. Yes, you take your time to finish up, and um, that would like be like an ideal brand I want to build. I would take the Rolls Royce identity and fit it into a food stroke restaurant kind of business. Yes, so the interior, even the food, and of course it will be expensive, like crazily expensive, pretty much unnecessarily just expensive. Yes, you are paying. I mean, as simple as a noodles, like a noodles meal, and you are paying about 550,000 naira for a
For
meal.
what now?
Yeah, that's all. I mean, you asked me now.
Why?
You asked me what I love to build. I think so. I'll fit in the identity of Rolls Royce into food. Yeah.
Fair enough. Okay. So my last question for
I'll
you.
drink as well. No, sorry. No, go on.
My last question for you, Director
Right,
Blonde.
right.
What is that one brand that you can't live without and why? Your favorite brand?
My favorite brand that I can't live without, and
Why
okay,
you can't live without?
well, I'm not so much of someone who I would say have like a favorite brand, but I think almost everybody cannot live without Google. Almost everybody cannot live without Google because why? We have daily, interactions with almost all their products. If you're traveling, you use Google Maps. If you're checking your mails, you use Google Mail. If you are signing up on a website, you're trying to like, join a community, you're using your Google Mail as well. So I wouldn't say I cannot do without it, but in a way, we can almost not do without it. But it's not like no, it's not like my favorite brand. Yeah, basically.
But it is top of your list.
Um, in the aspect of I cannot do without, right? Because I mean I don't interact with it. All these brands that are my favorite. If you ask me, the one I actually love the most, but I don't interact with it every day,
Let's
right?
hear it.
Hmm?
You love the brand, but you don't interact with it. Which brand is that?
Uh, interestingly, it's Coca-Cola.
Oh, do you know I saw that coming? Because you kept on referring to Coca-Cola in most of
Yeah,
your answers. So I
interestingly, I
just figured
love the Coca-Cola
you
brand.
probably
I
loved the
love
Coca-Cola
the
brand.
Coca. I don't even drink Coke anymore. I used to, but I mean, in the past 1 year, I haven't taken Coke. So, but yeah, I love the Coca-Cola brand. They are, I think, one favorite thing I love about them is the messaging of connection. Yeah, how they tell you share a Coke with someone, how they tell you Coke unites people. So they've really just expressing emotions properly, you know, through their products. Medically, Coca-Cola is not healthy, actually, right? On the medical, I mean, scheme of things, it's not healthy because, I mean, it does some interesting things to your body. But the way they've communicated it to us, it feels so very friendly, very harmless, and, you know, it feels like if you're visiting a friend, you should buy a bottle of Coke and give to that friend. And, it tends to
Right.
just, bring a lot of unity between families and friends, a lot of that. So I love the Coca-Cola brand a lot. Like I love it
But yeah,
so
you.
well. Yes, to be very honest, especially when it's Christmas time, it's amazing. Yes, it's super amazing, and of course, Christmas is red. Coca-Cola is also red, so I mean, it makes a lot of sense. Basically, yeah, I love it, and I love their sub brands too. Yeah, I mean, Fanta, what's it called, Eva Water, and all of that. But I mean, Coca-Cola brand.
All right, great. Thank you so much, Director Blunt. Thank you
Yeah,
so much for coming on the show.
thank you.
This was an amazing conversation. Thank you
Right.
for telling us more about branding, and I've learned
Especially the toothpaste
a
one.
thing or two today. Thank you
Yeah,
so
yeah.
much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. And
So, guys, we've come to the end of today's show. Thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget to share our episode with your loved ones. Don't
exactly.
forget to comment, like, subscribe, and thank you for your support.